Hey guys, what is up? It is Mary with Mary Breuer Photos, and today my 2018 business tour is with Jen Barris.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I murder names sometimes, and I think it's just vengeance for people murdering mine. I don't know. I'm just kidding. So today I'm here. We did our shoot already. I've been to 2 of her classes already. I'm going to one of her classes tonight, and I'm so excited that you guys are taking the time to learn more about her today, and that you are also learning something new maybe and getting something out of it, even if it's just a little bit of motivation or a little bit of spunk. Doesn't matter. I just hope that you get something as you plug in today and your commute, or maybe you're washing dishes. Either way, let's jump into the interview. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the questions here. That's just because I don't have them all memorized.
Yep.
So I'm going to start with question 1. Jen, what got you into yoga and dance?
So we'll start with dance. I've been doing it since I was 3 years old. And I was that natural little entertainer running around my house, singing songs into spoons, going into department store windows, doing tap dance moves.
Yes.
And so people would always say to my parents, gosh, your daughter really seems to love to entertain. Have you ever put her in a dance class? And so my parents signed me up for dance, and I was horrible. I literally did not want to listen to anything that the teacher said.
Really?
No.
Wow.
And so my first dance teacher told my mom, I just don't think your daughter's really cut out for this. But I would go home and be like, no, Mommy, I love it. It's so fun. But she's like, well, you need to listen to the teacher. You need to follow along. And over time that I caught on to it. And so I was a dancer for much of my life. And then in this very confusing period where I was transitioning out of the dance industry as a professional dancer, I got into yoga, and yoga I had done before. So, and you don't hear a lot of yoga teachers that are like, yoga was okay, but it was for many years. I just thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't drink the Kool-Aid of the energetics behind it. Mm-hmm. And I always say it's not when your life is going good, but it's when your life is going poorly and crap kind of hits the fan that yoga tends to be something that catches on to people. So I was totally at a quarter-life crisis, going through a breakup, and something struck me about yoga, and I never turned back from it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that you weren't cut out for it when they said that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny how people try to decide your future for you.
That's very true, right?
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide that you wanted to open Jen Star Yoga? And actually, I would love for you to tell my listeners, why is it Jen Star?
So Jen Star is my nickname.
Okay.
After college, I went to University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. After school, I packed up my bags and I moved to Las Vegas. All I knew that was waiting for me out there was an apartment that I did a virtual tour online. So my mom drove with me out to Las Vegas, and I began my dancing career. And over the course of that, some friends came to watch the show. And as a dancer, the love for the art on stage, you can transform your personality and you can really play into the fierceness of it. Mm-hmm. And so after the show, my friends were like, wow, quiet little Jen is a star on stage. And then one of them said, you're the Jen Star, with the accentuated voice. So from cast to crew to friends near and far, people just started calling me Jen Star. And so when I opened up my business, the natural thing, actually I didn't have a business when I created my own LLC. It was just me at the time. So I was like, okay, how about Jen Star Yoga and Dance? And so that's where Jen Star came from.
Awesome. So how long have you been open then? Or I guess when did you open, I should say? So
my business has been around for 7 years as a physical studio that people can walk in and take classes the last 4 years. And then how I knew I wanted to open a business, for those of you listening, we're sitting in the studio right now, mm-hmm. but there's this picture behind you on the wall here, and I made that in an art class when I was in 6th grade. And it's a collage of of what my ideal life would look like, and it's a business called Jenny's Academy of the Performing Arts, and it's on a street much to like the street that we're on here today. So when I actually manifested this and opened the studio, my mom has had that picture, coffee stain and all, for all these years, and she framed it and gave it to me. So it's always been in the back of my mind that I wanted to have my own studio. Then I thought it was dance, but yoga is truly where my passion is. So hence the movement studio with a bunch of different disciplines.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So-
I'm going to take a picture of that, you guys, so you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think it's really neat. My mom saved a lot of different things through the years, and I couldn't believe she still had that. So it was really cool when she gave it to me.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Okay, so tell me about a time that you failed. You know, I do have a lot of women who are in business that actually follow me, and just business owners in general. But I would love to just let's talk about some failure, because I feel like sometimes on social media and other platforms, we're always putting our best moments forward.
Oh, heck
and
yes.
And we never talk about the times where we just really sucked at something, or we had plans and then it didn't fall through exactly as planned. And I feel like if we were just more honest about our failures, I feel like that would be even more of an encouragement to people to really know that, failure is part of this.
Oh, totally. Honestly, for each time I failed in my business, I feel like I find an extra nugget of success from the learning around it.
Yeah.
So failure is something that it's going to happen. And if you always play it safe for it not to happen, you're not growing.
Right.
So where I fail on a regular basis in my business is with communication. I'm great one-on-one. I'm great if someone comes into the studio and we're talking as we are now. But there's so many lines of communication these days. They'll be sent. Even you sent me an Instagram message, and I couldn't even find it on my phone, like how to find where that message was.
That was true.
So this was a perfect example, because it happened with you. You're like, did you get my message? I'm like, what message? That happens a lot, and I feel like I've lost business from it in the past, of people thinking that they don't matter. You know what? Oh, she doesn't care. And lots of times I just legit don't check the messages. Call me the spacey yogi sometimes, but I'm just trying to live in the moment.
Right.
And there's Facebook, Instagram, email, phone calls,
Yeah.
messenger things. And
Yes.
And I really appreciate the good old-fashioned days where you just had one phone, I couldn't mess it up. I get an answering machine to call them back, and
Yeah.
and I just feel like sometimes communication slips through the cracks.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. Or people will email again or something. They'll email on a different line or communicate on a different line and be like, I never heard back from you. And it almost sets this tone like they're already expecting that I don't care
Yeah.
about them or that it's not important. And it's been something that I've been actively working on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's a learning curve, and I feel like maybe, and I could just be guessing, but I feel like you and I are in the same generation of, when floppy disks were still floppy, and it was just a different life, and we're kind of stuck in the middle of not, still having to learn it, but being quick enough to pick up on it. So
Yes.
we're in that weird limbo stage of like,
Yes.
we're old enough to remember the day, but we're also young enough to still be in the uppity up, kind of thing.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I feel like I fail, also in that same type of area. And it's just because there are so different mini mediums to have to learn and get down. It took me
Yes.
forever to figure out direct messaging, by the way. So
And it's this new thing, like especially the younger generation is using direct messaging. And a part of me gets upset sometimes, and I have to literally pause and take a breath, because people will send me personal Facebook messages.
Yeah.
And my biggest struggle in my business is work-life balance. Mm-hmm. But then I have people sending me like, hey, what was that class time about tomorrow? And hey, can I bring my friend? How do I sign them up? And they're sending it to my personal page versus my professional outlets that I have out there. And
yeah.
and so that's where I don't think about checking those. in the way that I do on a professional basis. And so there's so many different lines crossed, and I realize that a lot of younger people, though, they love direct messaging.
Yeah.
They don't want to call and talk about it. Mm-hmm. And I love calling and talking about it. So I'm trying to find a happy medium where it works for everyone.
Exactly. And I agree with that. I feel like but you have to be open about it. I think that's the biggest lesson that we've probably learned is, you can dig your heels in as much as you want, but technology is going to keep advancing and it's going to keep changing. And we either have to learn how to grow with it, or you almost kind of get left behind, or you feel like you leave out some of those people that are up and coming.
Yes, we definitely, as business owners, need to be open to the changing of times around communication and realize that we can't always have it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
So there's been failure in that, and oh my goodness! Just for the sake of time, I think that will be our one example today.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We could have another failure episode.
Yeah, we should just come in here, talk about all of our failures in one fell swoop and get it all out there, and then we can leave here refreshed after yoga. We're on to something here. Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
The failure yoga class.
So, what do you love most about what you do?
I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people come in thinking that they can't do something and then proving themselves wrong that they can. I love being a support. I love being a coach. And not just for the clients that come in, but for the other yoga bar, dance instructors here. I give them space to be who they are, but I also love being a coach. And I don't know, my mind almost, these questions sometimes I feel like my mind gets stuck because so many different things are piling in at once. Yeah. But I think that especially when it comes to yoga, the breath work combined with the movement is very therapeutic and healing. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing that transformation of somebody that comes in here really stuck, rigid, body might be tense, but their body might be tense because they're holding on to something that happened in their life. It could be a trauma. It could be something they're resentful for, being out of balance in their own lives, working too much, or not focusing to get done what needs to get done, and then having those little epiphanies for themselves and energetically giving themselves space to unfold allows their body to do the same thing. Yeah. And I get to witness that, and it's so cool and special, and I don't know, it's really hard to put into words because it's something that I see and I feel, versus I wouldn't talk to you if that experience happened to you in class unless you came up to me and told me oh, I had this moment. But I witness these moments on a regular basis for clients and classes. Yeah. And I see it happen around the dancing. People have a huge fear around dancing, but they come in and they realize it's a safe place and they begin to just enjoy moving, even if you feel like a silly idiot sometimes. It's fun, and that's... And we need to have that fun. We need to be silly idiots sometimes and just shake our hips and roll our shoulders and not judge ourselves. Right. So I like providing that atmosphere and space through both owning the studio and my instruction.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've told us about your business. Let's find out a little bit more about you personally. So tell us something personal about yourself. Do you have family? What do you do when you're not here?
Yeah, so I'm an only child. Mm-hmm. And my parents have always been a really important people in my life. I've been very close with them my whole life. Mm-hmm. My dad had a heart condition that he was sick most of my high school career, and he died my freshman year of college. And so my mom and I are even closer now because it's just the two of us. But having lost my dad, I did get to say goodbye to him before he passed. And that conversation is the conversation that that drove me to